Marlene Mckinnon is a Marauders character who has remained popular throughout the many different eras of this fandom. Her personality and popular ships changing with time, and yet she's always very talked about and included. She's the only fan lore character that was just as popular as the Marauders themselves in the 2000s and 2010s. Today I'm going to break down and explain Marlene's character, from her throughout the fandom and how she's viewed now, and everything in between. Hi, it's Coffee Cup and welcome to a new video. I am doing Marlene today because it was very suggested under my Peter video, which is sort of messed up if you think about it, but starting first with Marlene's personality. Now, before I start, I'm going to mention that I'm going to describe how her personality is currently viewed in 2025, but trust that I will be mentioning her old characterization and personality later in the video. The easiest way I can describe Marlene Mckinnon is strong. Not only are her morals and ideals strong, but she is a very resilient person. Marlene lives her life to the fullest and expresses herself fiercely, never hiding or dulling any part of her character. She is a very passionate person, deeply believing in causes and others. She doesn't take shit from anyone and sticks up for her friends no matter what, as she is extremely loyal. As tough and harsh as she might seem on the surface, at her core, Marlene is a mushy softie. She deeply loves her friends and values her relationships and her life so highly. She's a great listener and gives out amazing advice. She can offer a level-headed perspective when her friends are struggling to do so. She can seem intimidating, but once you get to know her, Marlene has a really pure heart and just wants the best for others. She can be really funny and snarky while being serious at the same time. She appears very put together, but she has a lot of internal struggles. Marlene wrestles with living up to others' expectations, especially her family's. She's someone people turn to while they're stressed, and she's known for being a good listener, but it's hard for her to deal with everyone else's problems while she has so many that go unheard. Marlene puts on a tough outer shell to deal with the stressors of her life. She's picky about who she lets in fully, but has a way of being very friendly and comforting to everyone around her. She's extremely driven, knowing exactly who she is and how she wants her life to go. She's full of pride and joy, and she can be very focused and a hard worker when time calls for it, while also knowing how to let loose and throw an amazing party. Marlene Mckinnon is a ray of light in everyone's lives. She has a way of making things better and fun and making you remember why life is worth it. Moving on to what she looks like, Marlene has blonde hair and brown or blue eyes. She is commonly fan-casted as Sophie Thatcher, and because of said fan-cast, she is often depicted with a wolf-cut hairstyle. Next, Marlene's life. Marlene was born into a pure-blood wizarding family, and it's often thought that she has many siblings. When she was 11, she started attending Hogwarts and was sorted into Gryffindor. She became quick friends with her roommates Mary McDonald and Lily Evans. During her time at school, Marlene did extremely well, being very bright and a powerful witch. She played on the Gryffindor Quidditch team along with James Potter and met Dorcas Meadows, her future girlfriend, through the sport. The two of them slowly fell in love during their time at Hogwarts. When Marlene graduated from school, she eagerly joined the Order of the Phoenix, very willing to fight against the side of evil. She went on many missions for the Order and was an excellent fighter. This, combined with her intelligence, ultimately made her a target, and when Peter Pettigrew turned spy, he gave up her location to Voldemort, who killed her and her entire family. The oldest Marlene could have been was 21. Moving on to Marlene's fandom history and how she's been viewed in the fandom over the past 30 years. Marlene has consistently been a very popular character in the fandom since the beginning. In the 2000s, she was the second most popular girl after Lily Evans, and was included in fandom content when the other girls like Dorcas Meadows and Mary McDonald were hardly ever mentioned at the time. Around the late 2000s, Marlene started being included more in popular fanfictions, and her character started to rise. But the thing that really made her character stand out was when the Marauders Tumblr fandom became popular in the early 2010s. Back in these days of the fandom, there was no Valkyries, no Slytherin Skittles, just the popular Tumblr fancasts and aesthetic mood boards. And how could we forget soft boy Remus? And speaking of Remus, he wasn't the only one with a very different personality and characterization in the 2010s. Marlene Mckinnon was viewed as a very different character than what she's portrayed as now. Instead of being a cool, punkish lesbian who's passionate and fierce and loves Quidditch, she was, the easiest way I can describe this to make you guys understand who weren't there, she was giving trad wife. She was very girl next door. She was timid and soft and sweet. She was really feminine and more conservative than the other characters. She reminds me a lot of the popular Tumblr girls of the time. Like, I don't know why, but when I think of 2010's Marlene Mckinnon, she gives me Zoella vibes. Old Tumblr posts that I found show that she was very commonly portrayed in a different way and a different aesthetic than she is now. Looking at these posts in the 2025 era of this fandom, I cannot see Marlene in these pictures at all. But during 2012 to 2018, this is how she was commonly viewed. This was her. I will mention though that there were some people who viewed her more similarly to how she's portrayed now. I did find some old posts where she's more alternative leading instead of clean girl trad wife moment. It's actually very interesting to me how the popular headcanons in 2025 have actually always been around, including the fancasts. They just weren't as popular back then. While I was doing my Tumblr research for this video, I found a post from 2015 using Matt Hitt, the Cadence of Part-Time Poets fancast for Remus. I literally stopped in my tracks. Like, the Marauders fandom is truly just no one having a unique experience, and we all share a communal brain rot that has been going on for decades. And I think that that's beautiful. During this interesting time for Marlene, she had quite a few different fancasts, but the biggest ones I found were Alicia Vikander and Freya Mavor. Sorry if I butchered those names. I was much more into Wolfstar during 2016 when I first joined the Marauders fandom, so I don't really remember a lot personally about Marlene at the time, but looking at Freya's face like activated something in me. I swear that I watched edits with her as Marlene in 2016. She was definitely the fan cast that the editors I was watching preferred. Alright, so far for this whole section, I've been ignoring the Blackinnon elephant in the room. Let's talk about Blackinnon. If you are blissfully unaware as to what Blackinnon is, it is the romantic pairing between Marlene and Sirius Black. This ship was popular in the old fandom long before Marlene was ever viewed as the lesbian she is now. This ship can be boiled down to Sirius Black is a bad boy and Marlene Mckinnon is a good girl and she hates him, but she doesn't really. And Ben Barnes is hot, so we need to ship him with someone, but it can't be Remus because gay people. No, never. And actually, back in the day, there were massive ship wars between Blackinnon and Wolfstar, and I think it's pretty obvious to tell which ship ultimately won. Jump scare warning. Blackinnon also isn't a fully dead ship. There are still plenty of people in the 2020s who ship it and make fanfics and edits of it. Though I do refuse to look further into that because those people scare me. However, throughout all of my Blackinnon slander, Blackinnon is responsible for these amazing old edits that I found. Dear God, I miss when Sony Vegas was the most popular editing software, dude. Before I move into how she's viewed in the present day, I'm gonna show you guys all the old Tumblr posts I found because I spent a good 2 hours like going down the rabbit hole of like old Marauders Tumblr posts. So I think the earliest post that I found is from 2013, and I think that this is the Freya fan cast. And for some reason, Isaac from Teen Wolf is here. I don't know who he's supposed to be. This is from 2017. Where Mary is a white woman. I also found Dorleen in 2017, but Dorcas is a white woman. I don't even know. I don't even know. Post is from 2019, and it's giving like basic London vlogger. Like, what is happening? And this is Marlene, guys. This is her aesthetic. I also found this post. I would cast you as Marlene Mckinnon because I guess they're asking people to send in their pictures and it's like, oh, who do you look like from the Marauders? Which is kind of funny because people still do that. But then they said, I would ship you with Sirius Black. I don't know what year this is from, but I found Rare Pair, Marlene and Narcissa, which is not a thing, mainly because the ages do not line up and Narcissa's like, what, 10 years older? And they did not go to school together, but interesting find. Oh my god, this one is like the most crazy. This is Marlene, guys. This is Marlene. Right. It's insane how different this fandom is. Alright, hello witches and wizards. Do you adore Sirius Black and Marlene Mckinnon? Would you ship Blackinnon to the very end? Do you believe that Blackinnon needs to become a more popular ship, or that it deserves more of the spotlight? Do you think that Blackinnon needs more content? More in general? Oh my god. If you have answered yes to all those questions, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Blackinnon network. I also found this like, it was this blog post that was like describing all of the characters, kind of giving my energy really. I just roasted myself. Anyway, but it's describing Marlene in, this must have been like what, 2016 or before? So, Marlene was pencil skirts and red lipstick. She was perfume in the dormitory early in the morning. She was passionate kisses, okay, and dramatic outbursts. She was warm summer rain and chaotic snow fights. She was laughter that filled the common room. She was boys and girls, and everything in between. She was the sun in every room. She was lioness hair and dancing on tables. She was stressing over exams and classes. She was adventures and tequila. She was standing up for what is right. She was treating people as equals. I'd say that like half of this is still accurate. There's some parts that definitely raise an eyebrow, like pencil skirts and perfume and boys and girls. I don't think she likes boys. to be fair. But it's interesting that like some of this is still accurate. I think these are from like 2017. There was like all the other girls, but there was these Instagram edits, and oh my god, I remember making these and I loved these, and I would have eaten this up if I'd seen this in 2016, bro. Oh my god. Also, by the way, I don't want any of this section to come off as me like hating and being like, oh my god, you stupid old losers. I actually had so much fun looking at the Tumblr posts and finding these posts because I, like I've mentioned, was in this fandom in 2016, and I have been on Tumblr for way too young as a child. I'm a Tumblr person. I still use Tumblr to this very day. It just gave me nostalgia and it made me so happy to see these posts, and I love old edits. Everything that I'm saying is coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of I literally was the person making these kinds of edits back in the day of just of Remus, dude. So, now that we've extensively looked into Marlene's history, what about her in the present? Well, in 2025, she is not shipped with Sirius Black, but instead none other than the beautiful, show-stopping badass herself, that is Dorcas Meadows. This ship is called Dorleen. The earliest Dorleen fic that I could find is called The Gaudy Glow of Neon Lights by Lius in 2010, and this is part Wolfstar. Then Just One Breath After Another by Woldy in 2011. This is the first Dorleen fic that has them as the main pair. The first mention of the ship name I could find was in 2016 on fanfiction.net, and then again in 2020. I was able to find some little sprinkles of Dorleen in the Tumblr posts I found, but they were referred to as a rare pair at the time, which is funny because they're the biggest Will-O-Wisp ship in the fandom. Similar to a lot of the new ships in this era of the fandom, Dorleen was popularized with a week on Tumblr again, in 2022, and started to gain prevalence on TikTok at around the same time. When looking back at the Marauders fandom, you can basically divide it into pre-All the Young Dudes and post-All the Young Dudes. For 2017 was when Marlene's character started to turn into what we all know her as now. Around 2021 to 2022 is also when the Sophie Thatcher fancast was popularized, which is of course the most popular modern portrayal of her. Also, this makes sense because this is when the show Yellow Jackets came out, which is where a lot of her clips are from. Though Sophie Thatcher was not the only big Marlene fancast, Beabadoobie was also fancasted as Marlene for a bit in the 2020s, but it's not as common now as it was in the earlier days of the fandom. Earlier days of the 2020 fandom. We're very present. Moving on to Marlene's relationships to the other characters. Starting off with, of course, Dorleen. Dorcas and Marlene are a couple that to those around them don't really seem to make much sense. But opposites do attract, and they fit together like puzzle pieces. When Marlene is too swept away by emotion and her hot-headedness, Dorcas is able to soothe her fire and help her see more clearly. And when Dorcas has trouble expressing her issues, Marlene is open and an inviting presence. If Dorcas needs help with anything at all, she knows that Marlene will be there in a heartbeat. And if Marlene is feeling stressed and nervous, she knows that Dorcas will comfort her and make her feel whole. Dorcas and Marlene are extremely loyal to each other, not tolerating a single bad word about their girlfriend from anyone. They inspire each other to grow every day, always learning new things about the other. They have each other's back and would literally die for each other. They can have a prickly relationship at times, with both women being very stubborn and having intense morals that they uphold, but they will always simmer and come back together. Nothing but death can literally make them part. Marlene. Marlene and Mary are best friends. They are so deeply important to one another. You'll never see Marlene without Mary and vice versa because the two just belong together. They are very different people. Mary loving her makeup and gossip, while Marlene couldn't care less and only likes makeup if it's dark and smudged. Mary is loud and open, while Marlene is closed off and selective. But despite all their many differences, nothing draws them apart. They are soulmates through and through. Mary always turns to Marlene for advice, and Mary is always happy to listen to Marlene's troubles. They can clash at times, both being very passionate and pushy about their beliefs, but they will always make up and choose each other at the end of the day. Side note, they're one of my favorite ships in this whole fandom, and I desperately wish that they were more popular. Please recommend me Maryleen fanfictions. I beg. Next, Lilyleen. While Lily might be closer to Mary, she is still extremely good friends with Marlene. The two share similar qualities and beliefs and have always gotten along well. When Lily is socially exhausted, being burnt out from the loud personalities of her other friends, it's Marlene that she turns to for comfort and peace. Marlene will always be there to offer Lily advice and listen to her problems. Lily values Marlene's opinion greatly and admires the other girl. They're both very stubborn and opinionated, and the two of them could run the world together if they put their minds to it. They have an underrated friendship, and I think we as a fandom should give them more appreciation. Jolene. These names are very silly. They're about to get progressively more silly. James and Marlene aren't the best of friends, but they are still friends. The two bond the most over their love of Quidditch and playing on the team together. That's how they got to know each other. Marlene likes to tease James, and James doesn't hesitate to fire back at her. James knows he can always rely on Marlene and that she'll have his back. Blackinnon. Sorry, I had to name them that. I just had to. Sirius and Marlene aren't the closest of friends, Marlene preferring the company of the other Marauders, but they do still get along. Mostly. They both have sarcastic fast wits and share similar styles, enjoying the same fashion and music, a fact that brings the two closer together. They also both play on the Quidditch team together, which allows them to get to know each other better. Maris. Marlene and Remus always got along. Remus appreciated that Marlene had a respect for personal boundaries, unlike her other friends, and the two were eager to talk shit, being the two sarcastic friends from the overall group. They both have a love of academics and reading, and have always found it very easy to be around each other. They have a very special and sweet friendship, and you could say that Marlene is Remus's cherry. You could. Meter. Like a parking meter. There's a popular headcanon that Peter and Marlene were childhood friends. And even though Marlene is very different from the small and weak-minded Peter Pettigrew, she always hung out with him and had a great time with Peter. He was able to make her laugh with his sarcastic wit, and Marlene really trusted him. She confided in him, turning to him when times were rough, and ultimately, he killed her. So that's their dynamic. Moving on to Marlene's headcanons. Number 1. She has pink highlights. You'll see this in cosplays and in fan art, including my own. And I think that this headcanon really fits her because of her self-expression. She totally seems like she would have bright dyed hair. Next, she's a doctor/healer. This headcanon comes from All the Young Dudes, where she's an aspiring medic, but it's a theme that I commonly see outside of the fanfiction. It also makes her death a lot worse for the Order because she could have been their main healer. She plays guitar. There are various instruments that Marauders characters are associated with, and for Marlene, it's definitely a red electric guitar. Her being portrayed as a punk isn't just for show, and Marlene would totally rock as a guitarist in my opinion. My last one is she wears red nail polish. I kept seeing this one over and over again, so I felt the need to include it. People are very passionate about Marlene Mckinnon's nails, apparently. Her personal style. Marlene has a very alternative and punk style. I could see myself wearing most of her clothes, so that means I'm a big fan of her style. She wears a lot of red and black, jeans, tights, leather jackets, graphic tees and band tees, boots and Doc Martens, and lots of accessories like necklace stacks, big rings, and a bunch of earrings and piercings. And for makeup, she loves grungy, black and red makeup looks, not being afraid to experiment with her makeup. Marlene expresses herself through her style, and it's a big part of her own identity, as it is for alternative people generally. Wearing alternative fashions and being in a subculture lets people know just by looking at you what your values and beliefs are, and that's something that Marlene highly values. And last but not least is her aesthetic and associations. Marlene is associated with the color red, fireworks, boots, punk music, guitars, Quidditch, being a lesbian, and grunge. She's pretty much the like girl version of Sirius Black's aesthetic. So. And that's all I have for Marlene. Thank you to this commenter for suggesting that I do Marlene, because I actually hadn't thought of the fact that she had a very different portrayal and how fun it would be to deep dive into it until it was mentioned in a comment, and I was like, oh my god, you're so right. I should totally do a video about that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video.